our hometown, we all look out for each other. We go the extra mile to lend a helping hand.
Thank you.
We step up to keep our communities going strong. And at Independence Blue Cross, we're here to keep you going strong. We've been deeply rooted in our communities for more than 85 years. And that connection to members has earned us our spot as the #1 health insurer in the region. So while you look out for your neighbors, know IBX is always looking out for you.
The following is a presentation of Jacob Sports.
And welcome in everyone to the National High School Wrestling Show with Henry Racich airing across the Jacob Sports Network. I'm Joe Kraus. We are live tonight from Quakertown. Excited to be here. #1 Faith Christian Academy against #2 Wyoming Seminary. This coming on the backside of the Ironman tournament just a week ago out in Ohio. We have a tremendous show lined up for you tonight. Henry Racich will begin our countdown to takedown with Ryan Clymer, who is the headmaster here at Faith Christian Academy. Henry, how are you, sir?
I am pumped up, Joe. This is an unbelievable event. The Clash of the Titans, 1 versus 2, Faith against Wyoming Sem. Everybody in the sport of high school wrestling is watching this match tonight, without doubt. I'm excited. I couldn't sleep last night, so I can't even imagine how these wrestlers are feeling. But we have some wily old vets here on this Faith Christian side of the fence, and they're hard to rattle. Coming off that Ironman victory, very impressive. They had that thing wrapped up before I think the semis, and I'm super excited to have Ryan Clymer on here today. The man, the myth, the legend.
Yes, sir.
Guy that makes it all happen.
Yes, sir.
And Ryan, let's start off with our very first question, which you're going to take us down a beautiful story and a beautiful pathway. Tell me what Faith is all about and how did we get here?
Yeah. Man, we're a small private Christian school located in Quakertown, Pennsylvania. Been around since 1973. Man, we're here to impact the world. We're here one student at a time and to prepare them and grow them in their faith in Christ. So that's what we're all about. Wrestling-wise, man, we have been around since 1990. There was a teacher, Mr. Tom Winkles, history teacher, decided to erect a wrestling program here. Lasted for about 6-7 years. He moved back to Wisconsin, and then it probably took a hiatus for about 10-15 years, and then early 2000s, Bob Clymer, they call him Pop, he was the head coach at Penn Ridge for a while. He came in here, and along with some other people tried to bring it back. Lasted for about 2-3 years, and then kind of fizzled out. And then we had the chance here at Faith Christian to hire Ben Clymer. He's my nephew, and the school board, was excited to have him here. I'm not sure if you guys are going to interview him tonight, but he's electric, and he's genuine, and people want to be around him. So he's the real deal, and we basically invested in him, invested in the program, and here we are tonight.
Unbelievable. So the Clymer name is synonymous with faith. So there are how many generations of your family? So you're
Man, there's 3 generations here. Yes, there are 3 generations, and I've got some of my own sons they're here in the school right now, and Pop, my dad, he's every morning he's bumping fists with everybody as they come in, and empties out the vending machines, and man, everyone calls him Pop. He's well loved, and he's the man. I just saw him out in the hallway, so he's excited to be here.
Yeah, the first day I came to Faith to take a look at the school, for my son, and here he was right at the front door, literally greeting every student that comes in the door. That's special.
He's a myth, man. He's a legend for sure.
So was he a wrestler as well?
He was not. He was a football player. He back a long time ago played for Muhlenberg. And back when they didn't have too many divisions, so they played like Temple and bigger colleges like that. He's a self-taught wrestling coach. A lot of times back in the day when you trying to make more money, you got to coach a little bit. So learn the sport, and the man's a winner. Wherever he goes, whatever he does, whatever he touches, he works hard, and his character precedes him, and he doesn't stop until he's won. So that's my dad.
So on the staff, you have Ben Clymer. Is there another Clymer on the staff?
Yeah, my other nephew, Ben's brother, Scotty. Scotty's a one-time state champion in Pennsylvania. Ben's a one-time state champion in Pennsylvania. Scotty is in the Liberty University Wrestling Hall of Fame. Ben wrestled up at Hofstra, and I think Ben was 1 win away from 100.
Oh, wow.
For his college career. So he was real close. Yeah, those two guys, along with a bunch of other really good coaching, knowledgeable, experienced coaching staffs. They're all studs.
So when you reflect back to, because you were here for it all, from where you started, from where you are, and where you're going, because it doesn't seem like this team's going to slow down anytime soon.
Man, I hope not. I hope not. I love our student athletes here. I think everyone should play a sport if they're capable of doing that. There's so many life lessons to be learned. To answer your question from where we began, man, I can give a couple shout-outs, right?
Absolutely.
Henzo Gracie down in Hatfield, they gave us the key to their dojo. And when we didn't have a wrestling team, high school team, we didn't have a place to wrestle, Henzo Gracie let us use their dojo. All we had to do was clean the mats. And so we were down there for 3 years and just trying to make it go. Ben was pulling in athletes, trying to teach them how to wrestle. And eventually we knew Ben was going to be around for a little while, and the school board decided, hey, let's invest in this guy. Let's put some money behind the wrestling program, and we bought a standalone wrestling facility. And the old adage, if you build it, they will come, that's exactly what happened, man. People started coming, and this is a niche area for wrestling. District 11, District 1.
Tough wrestling.
Tough wrestling. And so a lot of people just came to get trained, and man, the rest is history.
So tell us, when did the jump happen? Like you said that the board got behind you and they decided to let's not. So was that like a fruit stand or something you used to have?
Yeah, that was for everyone that's local. That was Sulky's Food Stand, and Sulky's, when we're selling the building, kind of going out of business a little bit, and the school board said, let's invest $500,000. We bought the building. Wow. Some dads donated some mats, and me and my father took apart the freezers and the refrigerators in the back and made a weight room back there for the wrestlers and for the athletes of FCA, and that was it, man. We one of the first wrestlers that came to the Den was Gage Botero back when he was really young. About this high right there, and then Gage, had started coming, and Ben started giving him some privates and things like that, and through that a relationship grew, and there's no standalone wrestling facilities. I didn't know that until later on, and I know wrestling is a big sport. It's been in my family. My father was a coach. Nephews wrestled in college, but I didn't know it wasn't, for how big it is, there's no standalone. And I think that was the big thing that propelled us, because people look and they go, wrestling, it's a nice community. Everyone knows each other, but no one's willing to put a lot of money behind it. And we did. And that was when things took off.
Well, Ryan, you hear about Faith. The name is synonymous with toughness, with grit, with spirituality. I was blown away. This is 4 hallways here.
This
is one building.
That's it.
A rectangle, 4 hallways. How many students? 6?
Yeah, there's like 600 in this building.
Yeah, that was like my graduating class in my public school. So it's such a hidden gem. People don't realize unless you're here and are around it, because I've been around it for a full year now, and every week I get blown away by something different. It's so unique. It's so special. Who put that together? Did that start with Pop? Did he lay the foundation for what we have here now?
I think it was a lot of people. I mean, I think it was vision for the school board, people getting behind the vision. Pop was definitely instrumental. I just, before I came on here, I saw a 1996 grad who wrestled for 3 years back the first time this was around. He and his brother are here tonight. I haven't seen him in 20 years, man.
Awesome.
And they want to come out and they want to support and they want to show, their love for the sport and their love for these guys they've never met. So Man, I think it was a lot of people. You know, when you grow and when you're successful, you stand on the shoulders of other people. Right. And we're going to keep growing this thing. And at some point, I'm standing on the shoulders of somebody else. Someone else is going to stand on my shoulders at some point. And we're not done, man. Like we're not done. The vision's big. The vision's deep. We're blessed to be doing what we're doing. And, just watch out.
Ryan, let me ask you about tonight. You come into, or the team rather comes in the opening I announce number 1 versus number 2, which is an exciting statement in itself just to be able to say that. There's a lot of sizzle that goes with being number 1.
Yes, sir.
There's a lot of that happens. How does everyone stay grounded with it? That can be a challenge.
Yeah, that's a great question. I've got a 17-year-old son, and we were just talking about the boys because he's in class with them, study halls and lunch and everything like that. And he's like, Dad, they're chill, like they're cool. And I think one of the greatest things about this team, everything rises and falls on leadership, right? And so you got Ben Clymer, who comes in, is probably one of the most humble people that you know.
Really
doesn't want to be in the spotlight. Wants to do his job, wants to impact kids for Christ, wants to teach them how to win, how to lose the right way, and you're a reflection of your coach, right? How your coach goes with those emotions, so does your team. And Ben's pumped, man. Ben's jazzed to be in this position, and I just think those players reflect him. I think they reflect, his vibe. I'm sure they're nervous. I'm sure they're excited. But according to my son, who was in the hallways with them today, they're looking at this like it's another match.
Yeah, Ben is a really humble guy. Like he kind of avoids the spotlight if he can, which is hard to do when you're number 1 now.
Yeah.
And the whole entire wrestling world in high school is looking at you. And, my son comes home and he goes, Coach Ben said. I started hearing that more and more and more, and I could not be happier that he's here at this school. So my hat's off to everybody here at Faith for what you're doing, aside from sports, but just not the wrestling team. It seems like every team you have up here, they're hanging at the top.
Oh, absolutely. I'm repping the baseball team on one of these shows. 23-0 last year. New coach came in. Coach Koffel came in from another school locally and took these kids, did great things, and we got 4 or 5 guys that are being recruited. We got 3 guys that were recruited from last year, and they're looking to have a really good team. Our volleyball team did amazing this year. Our guys' soccer team is always competing for a state championship. Our girls' soccer team is getting better. Man, we have a stud coach and Coach Longacre on our field hockey team. She's an All-American from Ohio State. I know we're in Penn State territory, but yeah, she's the real deal. And yeah, whatever you do, the Bible says, whatever you do, whatever your hand finds to do, do it with all your might. And that's what we want to do. We don't want to go out and just do it. We want to go out and do it well. And we want to trailblaze and let people go, man, that's capable. I didn't know we could do that. Let's follow faith. So we're out there.
Let me ask you one question. We've got about 3.5 minutes left before we get into our first break here. And stay with us. We got a great show lined up for everyone across the Jacob Sports Network. We're excited to be here. We're visiting with the headmaster, Ryan Clymer, who's joining us here. Ryan, let me ask you about, there's a movement in sports today, and you see it specifically a lot in the professional level, where athletes, more and more athletes, are proudly boasting their faith. And it is so significant and so meaningful. It's one of the reasons why I'm so excited to be affiliated now with Faith Christian, because the ability for people and athletes and young high school students to be bold about their faith is a pretty amazing statement.
It is, man. I think people, when you realize how difficult it is to get to the top of a sport, and so for some people it's starting on a varsity team, for some people it's going to a major university or even the pros, you have to realize at some point you got to be really good, you got to be really blessed, you got to get a little lucky, you have to have people help you, and if you think you did it all on your own, something's wrong, right? And if you are a true athlete, you've overcome something. Right. Whether it be an injury, whether it be something in your family, and sometimes we can't get through things like that by ourselves. I think a lot of people look to faith, look to the Lord Jesus Christ to go, I don't have all the answers, I don't know if I can do it, and they know there's a higher power. And I think that it's great that people are finally recognizing. It's almost like it's okay to say, I believe there's a God, and he's my Savior, and I'm going to represent him. And that's what we want to do here at Faith Christian. We want to represent Jesus Christ the best that we can. Are we going to fail? 100%. We do fail. But more times than not, we don't want to point people to ourselves or to the F on our chest. We want to point people back to Jesus Christ. And if he keeps giving us these platforms like we have tonight, I pray and I hope that we take advantage of it.
Well, I can honestly say that in all of the sports that I see this movement in people recognizing the Lord, wearing, the mark, the biblical verses. Wrestling is up front with that. I mean, you cannot go anywhere at any major tournament and not see it being acknowledged.
Well, you just look at Penn State.
Right.
I mean, Penn State has Bible studies. There's guys that are strong in their faith. There's guys from Penn State that could go out and kick tail anywhere, right? And they're humbly saying, I don't do it for me, I do it for him. And if Penn State's doing it, and that's the pinnacle, right? In this sport, that's the pinnacle.
Absolutely.
They're doing something right. We want to mimic that, and it gives high school kids a chance to go, okay, I guess it's pretty cool. I can live out my faith.
Right.
So yeah, that's a movement, and that I hope catches. Right. I hope it doesn't slow down.
No, I believe it will. I think it'll grow and grow and grow as we go on here, because honestly, it's so refreshing because to hear kids talk about the Lord and religion other than, TikTok and all that other stuff. These guys are laser focused, and I say it all the time. I've coached football, I played football, I wrestled in college, I had a cup of coffee at Lycoming. Nothing like these guys are doing here. But you need God. You need God and you need faith to get through all the storms. And these kids, these wrestlers, I set up an Ironman. If I'm going into a bad situation, I want a room full of wrestlers because they have it. They have all the heart, all the guts, and I love that this school represents it all. It's all here. I keep going back to this. This little 4-hallway school is such a gem in this state.
Yeah, they used to say this was like the best kept secret in Bucks County, Pennsylvania.
Not anymore.
Not anymore, baby. No, we're coming for you.
So tonight's matchup. What do you think about tonight's matchup?
I think it's going to be close. I think a lot of it depends. Do we send out a 107-pounder? No one really knows right now. We got a good 107-pounder in Shane, who's hurt. Got the green light to wrestle. Does he wrestle? I don't know. There's some toss-up matches. Kale's got a tough one. If Nicky Singer wrestles, he's got a tough one. His brother's got a really, really tough one at 197 or 191. What is that?
91. Yep.
Yep. So that's a tough kid. Bachman's got to win, both of them.
How about those boys?
Yeah, man. Those kids, they're talented.
They really are.
Yeah, there's something in that blood, man.
Special.
They're crazy. They're crazy talented.
And they're bringing a lot of light. The things they do on the world stage.
Yeah.
Now we're talking. Last week was the Ironman. That was the one of the toughest. I think it's that the Super 32. I think is 1 and 2. But everywhere they go, flashing lights.
Man, I'll tell you what. So if we still have time, let me tell this story real quick. It was last week. I went into an English class here, right, looking for somebody, and they asked me a question. Got to talking a little bit, and there's about 12, 15 kids in this class. Joe Bachman's in there. And I just said, hey, how many of you guys know that Joe is ranked in wrestling in the world? One of the kid raises his hand.
Get out.
That's it. So
wow.
Just to kind of piggyback, yeah, man, these guys, they're so good.
Right.
They're so humble. And yet, they're staying after it. I always tell people, if you're that good, someone else is going to brag on you.
Right.
You don't have to brag on yourself. And Joey's a great kid, man, and so is Freddie. But Joey's a quiet kid, laser focused.
Laser
focused.
I mean, diet, everything.
Yeah.
It's very rare that you see a teenager look at the back of a label before he drinks or eats anything.
Yeah.
I noticed Joe. He is so strict with what goes into his body.
Whatever college eventually gets him, man, they win the lottery.
Oh yeah.
Kid's a great kid all the way around.
They'll go 2 for 1.
Maybe. You never know.
2 Bachmans at college.
Better make him a good offer.
Ryan, let me ask you this. A little bit later on in the show tonight, we're going to talk and meet the Missouri head coach, Kendrick Maple, who will be in attendance, one of many coaches who will be here tonight. That is another example of the character and the success that's being built here at Faith Christian, because the big D1 schools, the big wrestling powerhouses from around the country want your athletes.
Yeah, I mean, I think I told Henry, our wrestling team last year had the highest GPA for a team in our school. And we got some really smart kids, and for them to have it, to be that disciplined, like you talked about, like disciplined wrestlers are, man, they want them. They're high character, they're really intelligent, and they're really strong wrestlers. Yeah, I look at this, and these guys would come up, Mr. Clymer, how are you doing? Are you coming to our match tonight? Yeah, I'll ask them, how was Iron Man? And we'll have conversations, and these are young men who will look you in the eye. These are young men who will hold a conversation with you. I'm not kidding. It's just not Joe. I just shouldn't say whoever gets Joe's lucky. Right. Whoever gets a Lion wrestler from Faith Christian, man, they're gentlemen. But they can be nasty too, man. As soon as you step on that mat, right? I've seen their practices. I see what they go through. It's no joke. I don't wish that on anybody. To be able to go through practices like they go through, early morning lifts, runs, man, that's why they're so good. Right?
Yeah, they morph into something else. And, Ben's at the helm of that. I was talking to Ben about this, and I said, wow, you're ranked number 1. Has that ever happened before? And he said, no. We want to be ranked. We want to be 1 in March. Rankings are for losers.
Yeah,
How humble is that?
Yeah,
the whole world's watching him, and he said rankings are for losers.
I mean, I'd love to be ranked number 1. Anytime. Right. I made some shirts to sell tonight. Says number 1 versus number 2.
Nice.
Yeah, man.
2X.
I got some 2Xs for you. I got you.
Henry, you look good in the Faith Christian jacket, my friend.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's a good rock. You're rocking that, brother. You're looking good, man.
I sleep with this thing. Yeah, man. What? Get discounts. I walk into places with this thing.
Good stuff. Ryan Clymer joining us here, the headmaster at Faith Christian Academy. We're about an hour and 15, I guess, somewhere in that 1 hour and 14 minutes until the match gets underway. I think weigh-ins are happening right now as we come to you live from Faith Christian Academy up in Quakertown. Ryan, a real pleasure to have you here tonight.
Yeah, thank you guys. I really appreciate you being here and having me on. And anytime you want to talk sports or talk faith or talk Faith Christian, I'm your man.
Hey, we're going to have a good run, too. We got a nice 16-week run. We're going to follow Faith Christian all the way through it. It's going to be content is king today, and we're glad that we are able to be here and be here live tonight. We're going to get to a commercial break. We'll let Ryan get on with what he needs to do. Henry and I will continue. Special guest coming up in a little bit. And then don't forget Missouri head coach Kendrick Maple will join us as well. All that, a lot more on the Jacob Sports Network. This is the National High School Wrestling Show. Back in a moment.
What if you could earn an MBA fully online in just 10 months for only $9,900? Eastern University's cutting-edge MBA in Organizational Management is designed to fit what you need in an MBA program. Our innovative LifeFlex model offers 100% online classes that you can complete at your own pace within each 7-week semester. We know how hard you work for your money, so we're thrilled to offer our MBA at only $9,900, making our program between 50 to 80% less expensive than most other schools, while ensuring quality and excellence with the support of our expert faculty. We even offer a concentration in business analytics, an essential skill set needed in today's data-driven economy. With start dates every 7 weeks, Eastern's MBA is handcrafted for you and your needs. So what are you waiting for? Apply today at eastern.edu/MBA.
The following is a presentation of Jacob Sports.
And we're back here live in the National High School Wrestling Show as we come to you from Faith Christian Academy here in Quakertown, broadcasting across the Jacob Sports Network. We've changed our shot a little bit while we make some adjustments and get our special guest in, Henry. I do want to pull up the schedule for Faith Christian Academy. I know you talked about being at the Ironman a week ago. Let's take a look at it. It's up on your screen. Of course, tonight, Friday the 13th, Wyoming Seminary number number 2 coming in against number 1. What do you expect from that, Henry?
Fireworks. This is going to be a shootout to the end. There's a couple pivotal weight classes. Like Ryan had stated, our 106, our 107 pounder, Shane Young is coming off of a bit of an injury. I think he's a game time decision. Shane's tough. He's tough. He's another freshman in the lineup. So I expect a very tight match. Last year, Wyoming edged out Faith. I think they won by 12 points maybe. But this year, and we were a young team last year. So this year, they're looking to hold that number 1 ranking spot. So it's going to be tough. It's going to be a tight match.
Reflect back, if you will, from just a week ago. We mentioned at the Ironman tournament. Talk about that, if you will. Just crazy to have all that talent under one roof for a full weekend.
Joe, it was literally amazing to see, to witness. It was my first time at Ironman. This is where the best of the best. This is like, I would equate it to like Top Gun, all the best pilots in the world. All of the best wrestlers in the United States converge in the Altoona area. Or no, actually, scratch that. We are in Akron, Ohio. And when you look at the brackets, you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way up to 25. The top-ranked kids in the country come here to battle out for a weekend. And Faith Christian, with the team points, they won the tournament by 30 points, which is a wide margin when you look at the talent that's in that room. And they kind of ran away with it a little bit. They were very dominant that weekend, and they had the title locked up before the semis.
Sean, bring that schedule back up for me. I want to look, because you mentioned a weekend from 1 weekend from tonight, from this weekend. The Beast of the East down at the University of Delaware, the 21st and 22nd, and then they transition into January, into 2025, and then that's when it all starts to begin. You see on the schedule that's up on your screen right now, all the way up through January, where they end up at the Coal Cracker Tournament Friday the 24th and Saturday the January 25th, before you get into districts, and then you get into the championships and everything else, the PIAA championships as well, Henry. But it is a daunting task if you look at that schedule on the board, and we'll bring up Wyoming Seminary in a moment. But before we do that, if you look at that daunting task, to have number 1 versus number 2 this early in the season is why 500 plus people at capacity will be in the gymnasium tonight.
Absolutely, a sold-out event. This place is going to be busting at the seams in about an hour. The best of the best are watching at home. You're going to have more than 2 handfuls of probably D1 coaches in here checking this place out. I mean, you got the coach coming in from Missouri. This school has a lot of eyes on it. You know, Cornell comes in, Navy comes in, Rutgers comes in. You know, my son comes home and tells me the coaches that are in here, it's unheard of. Again, this 4-hallway little doozy of a gem just has all the eyes, all the NCAA eyes are definitely on this program. So, yeah, I mean, tonight's going to be electric. I mean, if you're not here, you're watching. If you're in the high school wrestling world, if you're not in this gym tonight, you are no doubt watching that live stream.
Sean, bring up the seminary schedule, if you will. I want Henry to take a look at the Wyoming Seminary schedule. We'll bring that up as well as we broadcast to you across the Jacob Sports Network. Well, let's do this if we can. Sean, let's do this. Let's get into a short commercial break if we can. Do we have our guest here?
They're weighing in.
They're on weighing. Okay, so we'll stay.
Behind.
All right, so a little behind. So it's okay. It's live. It's live TV. We're okay with that.
Right.
Stay with us here. The Wyoming Seminary schedule up now in front of us, Henry. Talk about it a little bit. Again, part of the Ironman a week ago, where they came in 4th place at the Ironman, and then here tonight at Faith Christian Academy. What do you see on the schedule?
So I'm looking at a schedule that is pretty similar to Faith's schedule. This Council Rock North, the Beast of the East tournament is another solid tournament that you're going to see a lot of the East Coast teams. Now, the Ironman had the whole entire country converges on that tournament. The Beast of the East, you'll primarily see all teams on the eastern side, but their schedules are very similar. with the exception of Bishop McCourt, who is another powerhouse. They're up there near the Altoona area. They have a stud wrestler out there. Bo Nichols is one of the premier kids in the country, like the Bachmans. You know, at this school, there are 5 brothers on this wrestling team, brother combos. So it's like, it's all family here. So, but the Bachmans are out front in the wrestling world as, you know, the name to listen to, the name to watch. They're everywhere. They won, you know, they placed at Worlds this year. Both of them took second in the world. And they're here in Pennsylvania. Like, my son grew up wrestling with Fred and Joey since he was 5 years old.
Well, let me give you a chance to talk about your son. He's a freshman here at Faith Christian Academy. He's at 132. Talk about it a little bit, because he is he's young. He's going up against incredible talent, highly ranked wrestlers from around the country.
Right.
How's he doing?
He's holding it together. Now, you know, my son has heard me say since he could hear me speak, pressure bursts pipes or makes diamonds. And that's one of our family mottos, along with the lion does not concern himself with the thoughts of sheep. Ironically, my son's a lion. So, you know, he's dealing with it. So, you know, gets a little caught up in the, you know, he's a freshman at a school that's number 1 in the country. You know, that brings its own, you know, set of anxiety tools to the table as it is. But I think he's handling it okay. Like, you know, we've had conversations. I said, listen, you're not expected to move mountains here. You now have 15 to 20 other brothers to lean on. Many kids in that room have gone through the same thing that you're going to go through. It was kind of funny because we were out at Iron Man and the brackets came up, and I was like, it looks like you have the number 7th kid in the country. And he's like, oh, okay. And I said, the brackets reboot. Oh, I'm sorry, it's now 5. He's like, great. But listen, this is how you get better. You know, he wrestles every day with the best of the best, and they're all here. So, all, you know, Joey Bachman, Fred Bachman, Shane Young, you know, Gage Botero. He is around. He's swimming with the Sharks. And at that Ironman tournament, I said, listen, you might be swimming with the Sharks with a bloody tuna steak on your neck today, because that's how tough the competition is. Tonight he wrestles a guy who's 6th in the country, and he's committed to North Carolina. So it only makes you better. You only get better. Iron sharpens iron. He's going to be fine. We went into this with expectations. He's wrestling 132. Listen, he could be down at another weight class. He can't go down, but unfortunately for him, there's 2 Bachman brothers right under you and right under you. So you got to get in where you fit in at Faith Christian.
About an hour and 4 minutes until the match will get underway here at Faith Christian Academy. We're glad to be here. It's the National High School Wrestling Show. We're going to pause for a short break. We'll get everything situated. Again, weigh-ins taking place and running a little bit behind, so we are live, so we will adjust accordingly. We'll take a break. This is the National High School Wrestling Show. Back in a moment.
The following is a presentation of Jacob Sport.
In our hometown, we all look out for each other. We go the extra mile to lend a helping hand.
Thank you.
We step up to keep our communities going strong. And at Independence Blue Cross, we're here to keep you going strong. We've been deeply rooted in our communities for more than 85 years. And that connection to members has earned us our spot as the #1 health insurer in the region. So while you look out for your neighbors, No IBX is always looking out for you.
If you own a company and you're not producing a podcast, you're missing out. The public consumes messaging when they're ready. Join the professional podcast network of companies and let Jacob Media Partners put you in the podcast arena. Come to our professional studio, or we'll come to your place of business and professionally produce your company podcast. Call Jacob Media right now at 267-261-3428. 267-261-3428.
The following is a presentation of Jacob Sports.
And back here live on the National High School Wrestling Show across the Jacob Sports Network. My name is Joe Krause. Glad to be here in Quakertown tonight for #1 versus #2. And this is the start of what will be a 6 16 to 20 week run of the National High School Wrestling Show across the Jacob Sports Network with my partner Henry Racich, who will manage and be all part of meeting some of the great wrestlers around the country. We're also, Henry, going to talk to a lot of the great D1 Division I coaches who not only make their way to Faith Christian Academy when you see matches like you do tonight, but they heavily recruit from here.
Oh, absolutely. Faith is a defending state champion. They won last year out in Hershey. They're looking to repeat that this year, but this is a hot spot and a hotbed for college recruiters. Like I said earlier, Navy comes in here, Cornell, Rutgers, Penn State sent some guys down. This place has really developed into a focal point for recruiting for college. So I'm very excited. I'm excited for this show. I'm excited for this run. I hope that you and I and the coaches that we have on can dive deep into the landscape of the wrestling world and give everybody out here a viewer. Now, a bird's eye view of how this works. Now, I was a wrestler. I started in 7th grade. These kids start at 5. As soon as they're walking and can put wrestling shoes on, that's when my son started. That's when the Bachman started. All these guys at this elite level, this sport has transformed into something that is not just wrestling. When I watch these kids wrestle today, it's more yoga, gymnastics. It is unbelievable, the athleticism that is now current in this sport. And to think a year ago, the Olympics were going to get rid of wrestling. Russia went crazy. The whole world went crazy. I mean, you're going to get rid of wrestling. It's the oldest sport known to man, and you're going to get rid of that. And now we have like breakdancing. I mean, come on. The way it's rolling out, the way the sport's evolving and growing, the teaching, the mentorship. This sport is a very, 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 of all the high school sports, it's the most physically demanding, the most mentally demanding. I spent time in the ring. I spent time on the mats. Boxing and wrestling, to me, are the two mentally, physically challenging sports that you can be involved in because you're always on a roller coaster and you can never blink. You can never let the moment overtake you, and you're going to see that mentality tonight in that gym with some of probably the 30 best wrestlers in the country are going to be in this gym tonight.
Let me ask you this. I heard in a conversation that we were having earlier in the week in preparation for the live broadcast tonight, I heard you make a statement about the sport of wrestling being by far the toughest of all sports to compete, the toughest of all sports to be an athlete, to be a wrestler. And many people watching the broadcast of the National High School Wrestling Show know that already. What makes it so challenging in the ring, Henry? What makes it so tough?
On the mat, it's challenging because really a lot of sports are team sports. Now, this is a team. This is a number 1 ranked team in the country. But inside of that team is a story of individuality. So as a wrestler, and I don't care if you're a first-year wrestler or you're a 20-year wrestler, if you're a wrestler and you put a headgear on and you walk out on that mat in front of the world, it could be your little high school, but that's your world. That's all your friends in the stand. That's you, mano a mano. There is no excuse. There's no penalty on another guy that cost you this. This is you and another person going head-to-head. There's no excuses. And the better man wins on that day. And the beauty of wrestling is the better man could be any day, because in this sport you can get caught. Anything could happen. Just like they say football any given Sunday. Wrestling is mentally grueling. So let's throw this into the match, into the mix. You're going head-to-head with another guy who's equal to your size and weight, supposedly, okay? But that guy could have come down from 2 weight classes ahead of you, above you, and lost 15 to 20 pounds to get down there. There's no weight loss thing. So these kids have to be very strict and disciplined with diets, very strict and disciplined with sleep, very strict and disciplined with their training regimen. I always say, to build a champion, sleep right, eat right, train right. If one of those 3 things are missing, you're not going to have a champion there. So when I hear and see, I was blown away. I brought some a pickle juice drink that one of my buddies is peddling as a great recovery drink. Andy Reid used pickle juice for all those years with the Eagles. So I think it's called Ignition, but there's a pickle spear in it. I gave it to Joey to try one day, and before he even took a sip of it, he flipped it over and looked at the label. I was blown. I'm a label guy. And then I say, Joe,
I am as well.
Yeah, right. So I said, Joe, there's an app called Yuka that you can use to, and he goes, you know all about it. He goes, yeah, it's right here on my phone. So he is second in the world. He is so methodical and so disciplined with his diet. And that's very impressive, for a 16-year-old kid to be that focused in. So to be elite, you have to do elite things. And these guys, I tip my hat to all of them. When you meet these guys from Faith Christian, they're such gentlemen. In real life, walking around, they are absolute gentlemen. When they get on that mat, they transform. All the wrestlers at this level, Sem's wrestlers, McCourt's wrestlers, Blair's wrestlers. Blair's a big powerhouse in Jersey. They turn into something almost unholy. Like it's insane that they can be so tenacious, and then it's like they put their Clark Kent glasses back on, and they're mild mannered as can be. And this team is chock full of those kind of guys.
How dominant was Faith Christian Academy a week ago at the Ironman? How tough were they out there?
They were tough. They were lasered in. They were focused. I think, they had 3 first place. I'm going to probably misquote this. They had 1 second, a 4th, a 5th, and I think a 7th and an 8th. So the majority of their team, I'm going to say 80% or more, placed in the top 10. Of probably one of 2 of the toughest tournaments. The Super 32 is another one, but they showed out, and it was the team title was done before the semis. So they showed out, and now here we are, 1 versus 2. Before that match, some rankings had Sem at 1. So Ironman kind of cemented Faith at 1. He jumped over top in a lot of the rankings. Some of the rankings had Faith at 1. So the Ironman was like, all right, that's the toughest thing going. That's the first tournament. That's a monster tournament of the year. They won it. They walked away with it. I think they won by almost 30 points. And now they're 1. Now they have to defend it. Now they're the hunted. They've always been an X on everybody's calendar when you see Faith, but now they are definitely the hunted.
It's the National High School Wrestling Show as we broadcast to you and come to you live from Faith Christian Academy. We're going to take a short break, get readjusted here, and we'll be right back here on the Jacob Sports Network. This is the National High School Wrestling Show. Back in a moment.
Home is a place where you belong. A community where people know your name and you know theirs. Home is 1,000 little places you love. 1,000 smiles, 1,000 memories, 1,000 inside jokes. Home is a launch pad for where you're going next. It's a place where you can grow your wings. A place where you can become more of who you are made to be. At Eastern University, we think college shouldn't just be an education. It should be a home. Because when college is a home, it's something special. Something you remember forever. Something you love. Home is a place you want to share, and we want to invite you to join ours.
The following is a presentation of Jacob Sports.
And we're back here live on the National High School Wrestling Show as we broadcast you live tonight from up in Quakertown. We're across the Jacob Sports Network on YouTube. Thanks very much for being with us. It's a big one tonight, number 1 versus number 2, Henry. To your right and to your left are two of the reasons why we are here tonight. What a great match it is going to be. Set to begin. Weigh-ins now complete. Match is set to begin in about 53 minutes. I'll throw it over to you, sir.
All right, here we go. I got my security right here. I'll walk into any room with these guys any day of the week. So I'm going to start to my right with Mark Effendian. He is the heavyweight for Faith Christian Academy. And Mark shook the world up a little at the Ironman, huh? How you feeling after that?
Yeah, it was good. It was exciting. I mean, I didn't get the finish that I wanted, but I just competed hard the whole tournament. And, I'm not satisfied with the result, but I'm definitely happy about it.
So you're a junior, right?
Yes, sir.
Right? Are you looking at any colleges coming up here? Or
I'm committed to Princeton.
Right. Smart, right? You're part of that high GPA that we're talking about.
Yes, sir.
And I'm pretty sure that the other side, I always give him a hard time about his homework. But no, Mark. So listen, the big match in Ironman. So prior to that, how many years have you wrestled, first of all?
I've been wrestling since I was 5 years old.
Since you could walk, right? So you know the drill. You've been in a lot of finals. Does it still get to you? Do you still get the nerves at that level?
I mean, it's like second nature to me. I'm just always on a big stage ready to compete, so it's not really a big thing for me anymore.
Right. You just shrug it off. The lights don't bother you. Flashing lights don't bother you.
Not really.
So in that finals, tell me a little bit about some adversity that you had to overcome in that final. How do you deal with adversity as a wrestler?
It's a tough environment at Ironman. The whole crowd's cheering, and after that first takedown, it's kind of like takes it out of you. So it's just, staying focused on what you got to do and not what everyone else is doing is just the most important part for me.
That's the most important thing, that first takedown, right, for you?
Well, just taking care of what you can take care of and not worrying about the outside things.
Right. So you're able to block the noise out. You've been on that stage for a while, right?
Yeah.
So what's the toughest thing about wrestling here at Faith? What is the toughest thing for you? Is there one thing that obviously the attention doesn't really bother you, right? How about the workouts? They pretty.
There'll be days where I'm like laying on the ground for 10 minutes after we're done working out because I'm just done.
In a puddle of sweat.
Yeah, definitely. Shout out Coach Tom.
So let me ask you this: Have you been able to mentor some of the younger guys coming up?
Actually, yeah, it's awesome to see our younger group coming up and just all the growing that they've done, like since middle school, coming into freshman year, and still some middle school guys. It's just we have a really like family vibe with our team, so it is great, and I love like helping the other guys out.
Who's your favorite wrestler of all time?
Kyle Dake.
Kyle Dake.
Yeah.
And why is that?
When I was like 10 years old or something, I went to some Beat the Streets event, and I saw him like give it to Jordan Burroughs, and like he like signed a poster for me, and that was just ever since then I was like Kyle Dake. Loved him.
Still have the poster?
It kind of like fell apart.
All right, all good.
All right, I'm going to shift gears over here to the freshmen. Hen, tell me what has been your experience coming into this program, and how do you feel you've grown from this situation at Faith Christian?
Originally coming into it was a super warm welcome from all the guys, like such as Mark. He was a big role model for me coming into this.
Do you have a poster signed from him yet?
Not yet. Maybe after this match. But yeah, it was a super warm welcome from all the guys. Opened up with a really tough tournament, and then they just really brought me back up after I did not so well after that. They really been pushing me to be better as a wrestler and as a person.
So on the last segment, we were talking about wrestlers and their faith, and how this generation of you guys are open about your faith, and you're open about your love for the Lord. And, in years past, in generations past, Joe, I don't remember. You'd see a guy here and there have something about it, but it's just so powerful in this sport. So how has your faith helped you?
I think it just takes off all the pressure. Like, I'm not worried about, I know that the match isn't going to change my life and the sun will come up tomorrow, and that what really matters is my faith in the Lord. So it's not about the match as much as it is just keep getting better each day.
Right, nose to the grindstone.
Yes, sir.
So this question is for both of you guys. How instrumental has Coach Ben been in your growth so far?
I'll take this one. So for me, coming into Faith, I was around the church and I knew, what the beliefs were, but I definitely wasn't into it. And he's just done an amazing job of not forcing it on me and just, telling me that, like, it'll be, like, a huge decision in my life, but he can't make that decision for me. So his open attitude with it while still, wanting to encourage me I appreciate it.
Awesome. Fantastic. How about you, Henry?
Yeah, coming to Faith, I didn't have a huge connection with God, but I think Coach Ben not really pushing it onto us and just reminders here and there, not even in the God aspect, just like your poise, like stopping and then just embracing the moment, and then on top of that, putting scripture onto us is really benefiting the team a lot, just with mentality wise and just not letting the moment get to you when it's big.
All right, so boys, 1 versus 2. When I talked to Ben about rankings and Faith being in the limelight and being ranked number 1, and this is a direct quote. He wants to be number 1 in March. He doesn't care about being number 1 tonight, and the rankings are for losers. Just handle your business and let's finish at 1. So how about you guys as far as being number 1? So that the lights are on you, the cameras on you. I know we spoke about this earlier, but what kind of pride is that? I mean, this is a small little school here. I'm amazed that it's just 4 hallways, and you guys are doing amazing things here.
Yeah, I mean, it's great to have, and we're happy to be number 1 in the country, but we're obviously not satisfied. One of our key things is that we peak at the end, of our team. That's a key instrument of our team, is that we peak at the end of every tournament, at the end of the season. We finish strong. So we're not worried about what the rankings are right now. We're pushing to keep getting better till March.
So let's talk about your opponent a little bit. Do you guys have any prequels or pivotal matchups that you think may or may not tip the scales tonight?
I think a great match is going to be Botero and Desmond. They just wrestled at Ironman. I think that's going to be a great rematch. I think it's really going to set the tone for the rest of the matchup. That's all you can ask for Gage to do an amazing job.
What do you think, Mark?
I'm just excited to see the guys get after it. I know, we didn't have our best tournament at Ironman, even though we won it, and I think there's
there's more?
I think
it could be better?
I think there's some more in the tank for sure.
Wow, that's pretty amazing.
Won't be a spot left inside the gymnasium when the match gets underway. It will be at capacity. It'll be a lot of buzz, a lot of energy. How hard, how tough is it to stay grounded when all that's happening around you?
I think it's easy to say, just tune out the noise, and Mark does a great job at it, but the noise is loud, and I think that's a blessing in itself, to have all these eyes on us, to have all these college coaches, and just looking at the organization. But the crowd should not affect us as a team. I think we're a very sturdy team, whether there's a crowd or not.
And something we talk about all the time is to enjoy the moment. We're going to be looking back on this in 20 years, 10 years, and just, reminiscing on it, wishing we could go back. So it's more about just enjoying the moment and being grateful that you got the opportunity to be there.
Man, these guys got me. I'm ready to flip this table over in a minute. You guys got me fired up for this. I cannot wait to this. Not that I don't love the show, but I cannot wait to get in there and watch you guys get after it. So let me ask you this. Have you had any adversity or injuries in your life, and how do you deal with that, the adversities?
I broke my foot my 7th grade year, and it was tough, but it was middle school, so I haven't had any major injuries that held me back.
Lucky. How about you, Henry?
I've had chronically bad knees and groin issues, but nothing too major. It's just a couple ice on it. It's just adversity I need to get through to be the best I can be.
All right, fellas, listen, you're going to strap it up in about a half hour or so. We wish you luck. Come out with a win. If not a win, come out with class, style, and fight your butts off, right?
All right, good stuff, guys. Good luck. We'll see you inside the gymnasium. Inside the gymnasium. This is the National High School Wrestling Show. Back in a moment.
In our hometown, we all look out for each other. We go the extra mile to lend a helping hand.
Thank you.
We step up to keep our communities going strong. And at Independence Blue Cross, we're here to keep you going strong. We've been deeply rooted in our communities for more than 85 years. And that connection to members has earned us our spot as the #1 health insurer in the region. So while you look out for your neighbors, know IBX is always looking out for you.
If you own a company and you're not producing a podcast, you're missing out. The public consumes messaging when they're ready. Join the professional podcast network of companies and let Jacob Media Partners put you in the podcast arena. Come to our professional studio, or we'll come to your place of business and professionally produce your company podcast. Call Jacob Media right now at 267-261-3428. 267-261-3428.
The following is a presentation of Jacob Sports.
And we're back here live on the National High School Wrestling Show. Great to be here on a Friday night. As we look at it, about 43 minutes until we get to 7 o'clock and the match gets underway. Number 1 versus number 2. What a great way to kick off the National High School Wrestling Show. Glad to be here. Great segment, Henry, on our last segment with a couple of the competitors. Must have felt special for you to sit next to the young Henry Racich at 132. As promised when we came on at the very beginning of the show, Missouri head coach Kendrick Maple is going to join us live here on the National High School Wrestling Show. Henry, he's to your right. I'll toss it over to you, sir.
All right, listen, I want to address that feeling I had next to my son there for a minute, because I used to be 130, and now I don't want to talk about what happens when you retire from wrestling, Coach. So, Coach, first of all, thanks for coming out. I know you came a long way to see some special athletes in here. So I want to start off with your career. You wrestled in Oklahoma. Mm-hmm. You know Jalen? You tight with Jalen? You know him at all?
Jalen who?
Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, I mean pals. We're pals.
That's cool. So let's talk about your university here, man. I mean, you're here. You're obviously here to recruit, to see some special athletes. What's the pitch? What's the 5-minute pitch? The beauty
you want
of
my spiel? I don't know if I can give that away.
You can't hide the secrets.
No,
I love the black and yellow, though. The Steelers fans.
Oh yeah,
so we're good.
There we go. So is Coach Smith.
Oh, nice, nice.
So no, I know that for us it's about the culture, and if you talk to anyone around the country who knows anything about Coach Smith or our program, it's always been about culture. And so I know for us to be able to take that top spot as a team, we need to come in here and come to these events, right? Because these events host some of the best kids in the country. I'm excited to be here. And at the end of the day, we want to be that team on top, and I know we have a place for that.
So you're going to see a gym full of pretty special athletes here. When you watch them and you reminisce a little bit about your high school career, which is an illustrious career, and your college career was amazing as well. Sixth all time as an NCAA in your record, right?
Yep.
So when you look back here, and you look at the sport, and you're not that old, but I'm kind of old, and I look at this sport and I'm like, man, these kids are like doing splits, and they're doing incredibly acrobatic things that we didn't even think about doing. The evolution of the sport, how do you see it?
Man, these kids are coming out ready to go. It's crazy. I watch film on it. I come to watch these events, and I'm like, this kid would have teched me back in the day.
Yeah, get out.
That age.
Admit that. Yeah, I said it about my son, so he would have hurt on me.
Yep. So, I mean, they're just coming up so much more technically advanced. I think the help of, all the streaming services and being able to see technique online and the access to that stuff has been huge. And then let alone just the competition with America. I mean, I feel like as our international team has gotten better, I think everything is just inclined to where now these kids, man, they grow up wanting to be a U17, U15, U20 champ, and they can see that vision. No, nothing.
The sport, it's international, it's global. It's I don't know if we're still the best in the world. Are we?
Japan had a good year.
Yeah, Japan
had a good year.
I saw some of their practices. It's kind of crazy what they're doing. But the way you see it, the evolution of the sport from the high school level. I mean, there's kids that are 7, 8, and 9 that have unbelievable skill sets right now. And is that because they're able to be coached by higher caliber guys? Like, the sport gives back. This sport really gives back. I feel like the legends stay legends. The legends are always involved at the grassroots levels. For you, for Mizzou, what do you look for in a guy? Like, what are the top 3 assets in a wrestler? I mean,
I don't know if I can limit it to 3, but I know what we truly care about is someone who, at the end of the day, is just a good person, right? We are looking for people who truly want to be great for themselves. They want to be good to treat other people good because they got to represent our university.
Right.
Someone who enjoys wrestling, like that's one of the biggest things. You come in our room and you see after practice there's 20 guys after we're just staying, working on things and helping each other out. We want people who love the sport and enjoy being in that wrestling room because at the end of the day, the sport is hard.
It's
It is brutal. And if you don't enjoy it, it's a hard thing to do.
So, some of these practice rooms remind me of the movie 300 when they sent the kids out at 6 to hunt, to hunt wolves.
Oh, yeah.
So let me ask you this: with the new rule change, the 3-point takedown, what do you think that's done to the sport?
I wish I would have had it.
Yeah,
I know
right.
that.
Didn't have to do so many takedown, let them ups, right?
Yeah. I thought it was. I think it was a very good change, just because you'd have those matches where a guy would put on a takedown clinic in the beginning of the match,
right?
And all of a sudden the kid, and then the match gets an escape and a takedown, and it's a 2-point match or 1-point match, and it's just
for all that work.
I have 2 or 3 more takedowns.
More reward.
So I think it's promoted action, promoted guys to really go run up that scoreboard and try to get those tech falls.
So what, Coach? Not to put you on the spot, globally here, but what's one thing you would like to see if you could change something about, the sport how it is today? Is there anything in particular that kind of irks you a little bit?
Man, that's a tough one because I could go to so many different angles. Like, I wish we put more importance on the dual schedule in college. That's one of the things I wish we could do, and focus on dual championships too. I love the NCAA tournament because it's awesome.
Right.
But also adding that element.
Philly this year, right?
Yeah.
You're going to be in for it?
Oh, yeah.
All right, it's my neighborhood.
Hey, come on, show me where to get a cheesesteak.
I got that. We got all that coverage. We'll probably have a sponsor for one by the end of the show.
Yeah.
So, not enough dual meets for you. So, do you feel dual
just
meets?
More importance on the dual meets. I think that fans love to be able to cheer for a team. I think it's hard for the common fan to be able to go to a tournament and watch our tournaments are long.
Yeah, they are. They're confusing.
My
if you don't
kids
know
just started wrestling, and I sat in the tournament for the first time and didn't coach or wrestle in it, and it killed my back.
Get out! Just sitting in the bleachers all day, right?
Yeah, I was like, oh, this is. I don't know if I could do this the whole day.
How many kids you have wrestling right
2
now?
boys.
2 boys.
Yep.
How old?
Just start 8 and 6.
Oh, 8 and 6.
Yep.
No
so
pressure?
I got to send them up here to you.
Yeah,
to get them trained up.
I'll be ready. So 8 and 6. I remember when my son was that age, and he started at 5, and his first match was Freddie Bachman, and then the reason I'm sitting here today is because his father never let me get far away because my kid was a tough kid at 5, and they would go at it. But that's the beauty of this sport. Like, you get to pass it on to your children.
Yeah.
You come from a wrestling family.
No, I was the first one in my family.
Man, what a trailblazer.
I brought home a flyer to
you set the bar
school
pretty.
as I hear, hey, I want to do this.
I need some shoes.
Yeah.
Right? I can't do it in basketball shoes.
Yep.
No, man, you really set the bar high for your boys.
Yeah, well, I just hope they have fun. That's the biggest thing. My youngest one, he gets pinned and he's just smiling. I was like, I hope you never figure out what losing is.
That's amazing because the tears come at that age. They come on, and it's tough as a dad and a former wrestler. Like I have an older son that I learned a lesson hard. Just let him enjoy it. There's ESPN isn't there at 6 and 7. Even though I sometimes I was like, come on, let's go. But no, I mean that's the beauty of this sport. I try to tell people, they're like, what's wrestling about? And it's not. You don't play it. You don't play wrestling.
No.
It's really a lifestyle, and it really gets in your blood, and it's something that at your level, you're at the pinnacle. You're a D1 school. You're world renowned. You're in the record books, brother. For sixth all time NCAA.
Back in the day.
So, is it hard to deal with the outside world as a coach and an elite wrestler? Like, you were there. How did you cope and deal with the noise?
I think I was blessed to have really good people around me that kind of kept my circle small. I think that was the biggest thing. That's like how we like to do at Mizzou. Like, we keep our circle small, and it's a tight-knit family, and we'll fight tooth and nail for each other. And I think when you focus on what's inside that circle and take that mindset, man, those distractions just kind of brush off you. I know a lot of people, this season's been tough for us, and a lot of people have been saying this and that, but at the end of the day, we know exactly what we have in our room. We know what's coming, and we're excited for it. And as long as we stay focused on that vision, there's really nothing stopping us.
So when you go on a recruiting trip like this, and the reason I'm asking you this is because I just took a college position. I've been a lifelong football coach, and a good buddy of mine's an AD at Harcum College, and he goes, "We're going to have football." So I'm like, "Let's go football!" But it's women's flag football. So I'm like, I said, "Excuse me?" He goes, "Yeah, I need a coach. You want to do it?" I said, "Yeah, why not? I'll do it. I love coaching."
Yeah.
So they're giving scholarships out now. So for football. So as a coach. when you go into a living room or you go talk to a parent, like you have to sell them and the kid
Yeah.
at one time. That's like a double-headed kind of conversation. So how's your closing skills? You doing all right? Are you pretty lasered in on who you want next year? I mean, when does the recruiting stop?
Never.
Never.
It's a constant thing. And honestly, when I first started coaching, it was I was almost scared of it. And it's something I really didn't like because I felt like I was selling something to somebody. I was like, I'm not a car salesman.
That's just popped in
I'm
my
not
head.
trying to, like, if you want to be here, you want to be here. And I had some really good coaches and mentors that just told me, man, you just be you. Tell them exactly who you are, what you guys have, what you've experienced, what your goals are. And if they want to join that, then that's awesome. If they don't, then they don't. And as soon as I took on that mindset, recruiting changed for me. It just became about creating relationships. I know when I go step in that room, I'm going to tell you, like, I'm going to have your back to the day it's done, right? When I talk to the family, like, man, this is a family that we are. If you enjoy family qualities, that's us, because we're going to take your son and we're going to treat him as our own. So that's the stuff that, really gets me going. I'm excited I get to be here and recruit some of these guys because there's some special guys here. So I'm excited about it.
No, yeah. Earlier we were talking about the youth movement and faith. Mm-hmm. And how the Lord is such a part of, especially with wrestlers, because how grueling it is, both mentally and physically, and the grind, and let's just throw in, I got to lose 5 pounds in a couple days, and all of that stuff. Like, how
that's called
heavily,
fasting.
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah. I haven't done one of them in a while, but. Did you have that kind of center and with the Lord and through trials and tribulations? Have you ever had a major setback in your career where you thought, oh man, this might be it?
Absolutely. It's something that I talk to my guys about, and it's something. It means a lot to me. It carried me through my career and on, because the biggest thing we tell our guys is your identity is not as a wrestler. That's a jacket you could put on, but at the end of the day, you got so much more than just being a wrestler. Because if you lose a match, what does that mean? Right? Does that mean you're a worthless person? And so for us, it's trying to get these guys to understand, not beating them overhead with faith, but believe in something bigger, right? Believe in, have a why that's bigger than just being a wrestler. And so it was a big part of my career. I know I think it was my sophomore year, I had a really good season, was planning on winning nationals, and ended up getting upset, I think, in the semis or quarters. And I remember going back to the locker room just, like, blaming God for everything. Why? I did everything right. I know what they were doing. I know what I was doing. Right. And at the end of the day, like, God never promised that.
Right.
And so it was a big awakening, and I truly believe, like, he spoke to me and was like, man, just follow me, and everything's going to be okay. And then I went back out, wrestled, had fun, and, went on to have, finish out the career that I had and enjoyed it, truly enjoyed it.
So what advice would you give to, because some wrestlers, when they lose, their confidence gets rocked, it really hits you to the core.
Yeah.
But especially, you train, eat, sleep, this is the guy, you have laser focus. When something goes bad, and I'm trying to have these conversations with my son, he's a freshman, he's going to take his lumps this year.
Yeah.
But when it goes bad, what's your best advice for a guy to try to get past a bad moment?
I think it has to come in a lot of different steps. It's really hard in that moment to change someone's perspective on losing.
Because they're so hurt.
Right? It's really hard because you're dealing with emotions.
Just leave me alone.
Right? I think it's more about, like, how you consistently attack that mental mindset. We have mental Mondays. So every Monday we talk about something mental. Whether fear of failure, fear of getting tired.
Right.
Fear, and we address every little aspect that we can, because we know the mind is just as important as training the body. I need to train my mind just like I train my single leg. And so that's something we address on a weekly basis. So our guys truly understand that as you're going through these wins and losses, it's all just growth to get you better. Right? When you take this loss, it's only teaching you what you did wrong and what you could do better, as opposed to, man, I suck at wrestling. And you have to catch guys. Even one of our best wrestlers, Keegan O'Toole, he comes off the mat sometimes in practice like, I suck today. Well, what do you mean you suck today? He's like, well, I couldn't do this. All right, well, how do you fix it?
Right.
Okay, well, let's get back in the lab.
Such a mental. I was telling my partner, wrestling and boxing are like grueling combat sports. Yes, it's a team sport, but there's an individual portion to all of this. And that I have respect for anybody that puts a headgear on and goes on the mat. You're in front of all your friends, all eyes are on you. There's no excuse to be made. There's no guy that clipped across the field and stopped your touchdown. Like, this is all you. And, it really does. This sport does turn boys to men.
Oh, yeah.
And even at the college level, I bet you there's guys that crash, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you deal with total rebuilds and confidence. Does that happen often, or
I would say so. It
even at
does.
that level?
Even at that level, there's always. I mean, because you're dealing with guys who, they're still young, they're still forming, and man, there's some guys who don't ever take losses in high school, and all of a sudden they can't get a takedown in the room.
Right. Yeah, the ego.
That's a big thing to
the
swallow.
ego takes a
It's your
slam.
pride to swallow. So yeah, we deal with it, and it's something that's like we say, go back to family. Like when you got people that can pick you up, it becomes a little less, and you realize that you're not the only one struggling, and that there is a way out. So it's something we take pride in.
So tonight you have 1 and 2. I know you can't really talk too much about the particulars of the match.
Yep.
Do you have a favorite?
I can't pick a favorite. All I can say is I'm
you might
really
recruit
excited.
one or the other. No, but this is like a
There's a reason
juggernaut
why
of
I'm
a
here.
match. Yeah, right.
I'll say that.
Exactly. And now, how many other coaches you think are flying in here for this?
Well, if they're smart, probably all of them. But
Yeah.
I don't know if everybody's willing to do that.
Not everybody likes to fly in the cold Philly. What's colder where you are, right?
I was about the same when I left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this: if you had to go back, do you have any regrets? Do you have a loss that you? Is there something that you take?
I don't think there'd be any regrets because I know every single loss, every single dumb decision I made led me to who I am today. So I don't think there'd be regrets. There's some things I'm like, man, you were an idiot.
Right. Oh, we all have
You
that.
should have did this. You
Some
should
more
have did
than
that.
others, right.
But it honestly just helps me become a better man today, and hopefully teach my guys not to make the same mistakes.
So what made you fall in love with the sport? I mean, you're going to do it all, probably all of your life, right?
Yeah.
You came this far.
Yeah, I can't get rid of
It's been good to you, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
What made you fall in love with it?
I honestly, I think it's the just pure competitiveness of it. Like I was talking to my dad and some of my friends the other day, and just thinking about the kids club I went to, Team Hard Knocks, and how tough it was. And I was like, man, why did I like it? Like,
right.
It was hot in that room. I was getting beat up. Like, why could
Other kids are sledding, throwing snowballs.
Yeah,
You're
I
like
could be
dripping
playing
sweat
basketball.
off the ceiling. No, man, it's such a fraternity of pain.
And that's what it is. It's the people you do it with. Like when people ask, what after this victory, that victory, what do you remember? And I like to pick everybody's brain. Everybody I'm ever around. I spend some time with like Jordan Burroughs and guys like that. And like what do you remember about this and that? And you don't ever really hear anything about that specific moment. Like I was getting my hand raised and it was just awesome.
Right.
It's like no, like the people I was with.
Right.
And that's the coolest part. Like it's always with the people, and that's why like when we're recruiting, we're like, this is the people you're going to be around, and this is what's most important. Yeah, we got all the nice facilities, we got all the glitz and glamour, but what truly matters is this goofy dude named Aiden Sinclair on our team, who's going to make you laugh every single day, and also going to hand fight the heck out of you when you get in the room.
Right.
So that's more what it's about.
You guys have a promising season coming up? You guys doing all right, or what's going on?
I think so. It's kind of almost a changing of the guard with COVID. Man, all these guys have stayed extra years, and so we've had some guys hold the spots for 4, 5, 6 years now, and so now we've had a big recruiting class, an amazing recruiting class come in that are all freshmen this year, and we have another one coming next year that's big, and I'm telling you what, it's going to be scary how good we get.
So that COVID year, some guys got an extra year and lost a year. Is that how that?
So the class, I forget what year it was, but they didn't get to compete in their national tournament. But all the other
is that
guys,
the height of COVID, 2020?
Yeah.
So that was the year, maybe.
And all the other guys got an extra year, and so now they're, instead of going 5 years, now they're on their 6th or 7th, depending on red shirts and medicals and stuff. But you do see that a lot of these guys are having injuries and stuff from being in college so long. So we actually just lost our 25-pounder to injuries, and it's just heartbreaking. I feel for the guy, but he's
senior.
He's a senior,
oh, wow.
But he's done more for the program than he'll ever know, and I'm excited to see what he does with his future. But he's going to stay around and help us. But like I said, it's to these new young guys, the changing the guard. We got another guy ready to step in, and he's going to do awesome.
Awesome, fantastic. So let me ask you this, Coach: the freestyle seasons, really wasn't. Freestyle was not very popular when I was in high school in '88. So, are you a better wrestler if you wrestle? Are you better folk style if you do freestyle? And then Greco, let's talk about that too. So it seems like wrestling season never ends. Now
Yeah.
it's all year round, depending on what you want to do. So what's your thoughts on the freestyle world? Were you a big freestyle guy?
So I actually didn't really wrestle freestyle. I went to one tournament in high school where they kind of just threw me on a bus.
Right.
And I went to one tournament in college.
Right.
And
So just
when
take everybody down.
Yeah. And so when I got out of college, and I'm like, I'll do a little freestyle. Like I remember being in the world team or U.S. Open finals and not knowing the rules. Like I was trying to cut the guy because I was losing, and they were like, "You can't cut him." And so it's been a learning experience. Now, obviously, I've done a lot of it, and I've got to coach a lot of it. So I think wrestling is wrestling. You get better at wrestling if you wrestle more. So whether it's freestyle, Greco, there's something to take from every bit of it.
Right.
If I'm wrestling Greco, man, I'm gonna become a better wrestler because I'm gonna learn how to hand fight and develop those positions and develop like everything from freestyle. Same thing. And when we go and watch these tournaments, when it's just freestyle, like I can still see the kids who are gonna do well folk style. You know, I can see how they move, how they keep position. I can see how they keep composure, their mental side of it. And so I think all of it's good.
So what I've noticed too, because I, as a former boxer as well, a lot of wrestlers are transforming, going to the UFC.
Yeah.
Got any aspirations for that?
Oh, it's a little late for me. I would like to do it once, but I would like to,
I mean, you miss it. You miss being on the mat. And
I do miss the
and-
competitive part.
Right.
I miss getting in there and scrapping, but the thing is, I get a dose of it every day. I still
that's
got to
right.
wrestle every
You
day.
get all you
so,
want or ever want, right?
Yep. Anytime I want, I can go. So.
All right, Joe, you jumping in, or are we gonna? All right, so listen, I really appreciate you coming here on the show today. I
Thanks
hope you
for
get
having
everything you want out of these guys here. It sounds like you're a great role model, man. I mean, is it just pure joy? That's your paycheck sometimes, right? Affecting lives.
Yeah, that's what it's about. Besides the paycheck,
So
it's about affecting lives.
So who's your arch nemesis? Is he out there somewhere? If he's watching,
Oh,
did you have an arch
man.
nemesis in wrestling?
I don't think so.
He just blew everybody out.
I mean, I took losses.
Nobody
but
hung.
Yeah, I don't think I didn't hold any grudges. I guess the guy, I'll call Steber out. Maybe we can do another round.
All right. So, what's your advice to a young kid, 5 or 6, watching you right now that loves the sport of wrestling? What would you tell him about it?
I would say enjoy every moment, even the hard times. I think if you can find enjoyment and grow, then this sport's going to bring you so many blessings.
Yeah, I know it has for me. I have an older son who wrestled, and you weren't here earlier, but I had a cup of coffee at Lycoming College, and I thought I was the man in high school, and then I go to this school, and then there's like 5 guys like me at my weight class that had the same exact schedule, and then he just battled out. But it is such a sport that's, even in failure, you learn something from it because you learn something about yourself.
Yeah.
I'm super competitive. A coin toss, I'm competitive about that, and I just know that it humbles you.
Yeah.
It's a very humbling sport.
Yes, it is.
When you look in the mirror and you think you're the man and you train hard as you can train, and then you give it all out there and you come up a little short
With no one to blame.
with no one to blame but yourself. But you want to blame somebody. You want to blame a ref. You
Yeah.
want to blame But I just know that for me and bringing my son to this school, and same with Sem. These are schools based in faith. And I said it at Ironman when I was there watching Ironman. Now, did you ever wrestle at Ironman?
Did not.
Did they have Ironman?
I don't remember it.
All right, so
Now
that's
you're dating me.
when I saw the brackets and I see
That's
1 to
unbelievable.
25, all these kids are ranked in order down the bracket. That's a little daunting, when you first see something like that, and they just didn't have that.
Yeah.
So the sports women wrestling.
Yeah.
Does Mizzou have a women's wrestling
Not
team?
yet, but I hope we get it because the sport's blowing up.
Yeah, it's the
and it
fastest
helps
growing
everything.
sport in the country right now.
Yep.
So what do you think?
I hope it keeps growing.
Yeah?
And I hope ADs start to realize like this could be something that we could really do. And so I know it's something that we've talked about and we're advocates for it.
So what's the big high school near you guys? The most popular?
I mean,
ranked
there's a
high
bunch
school.
inside Columbia. You got Rockbridge and Hickman's, where there's a lot of great wrestlers who've come from there. And then you got Kansas City and St. Louis that also put out so much good talent. So Liberty High School, all those are really good.
Coach Mabel, thank you very much for joining us here tonight on the National High School Wrestling Show. Great interview, Henry Racich. You can watch it back on our Jacob YouTube channel. We'll take our final commercial break as we broadcast to you live tonight. Henry and I will wrap it up on the other side. Back in a moment.
What if you could earn an MBA fully online in just 10 months for only $9,900? Eastern University's cutting-edge MBA in Organizational Management is designed to fit what you need in an MBA program. Our innovative LifeFlex model offers 100% online classes that you can complete at your own pace within each 7-week semester. We know how hard you work for your money, so we're thrilled to offer our MBA at only $9,900, making our program between 50 to 80% less expensive than most other schools, while ensuring quality and excellence with the support of our expert faculty. We even offer a concentration in business analytics, an essential skill set needed in today's data-driven economy. With start dates every 7 weeks, Eastern's MBA is handcrafted for you and your needs. So what are you waiting for? Apply today at eastern.edu/MBA.
The following is a presentation of Jacob Sports.
And we're back here live to put a wrap on tonight's countdown to takedown. Great interview with the Mizzou head coach, Henry. Wow, great stuff. Don't forget you can rewatch it tonight on the Jacob Sports YouTube network. But what a great day. I'll get some last thoughts from you before we sign off. We are 42-52. We're about 17 minutes out from number 1 versus number 2, getting ready here to compete at Faith Christian Academy. Let me get some closing thoughts from you on the match tonight.
I cannot wait to see this match. Like I said earlier, the whole country's watching this matchup of just warrior gentlemen. Like, these kids are the nicest, quietest, most loyal, devoted kids to this sport. But when they go on that mat, all bets are off, and you're going to see a hell of a match tonight between 1 and 2. And like I said, the whole wrestling world's watching this tonight.
Well, good job tonight. It was great to open up the show tonight with Ryan Clymer to learn a lot about the history of what has brought us to this point. The National High School Wrestling Show makes our debut tonight, number 1 versus number 2. We've got a great 20-week schedule for everyone. We want you to like, share, subscribe, and be part of the National High School Wrestling Show. It all begins tonight, number 1 versus number 2.
Wrestling Super Bowl tonight. Tune in. Next week we'll have the results, right?
Well, the results, the special guest. Each week we're going to talk to one of the great legendary college coaches. We're going to interview and talk to a lot of the great wrestlers from the Delaware Valley, from around the country. So I'm looking forward to doing that as well across the Jacob YouTube network. That's going to get.
And the wrestlers out there, listen, this show is for you. This is the National High School Wrestling Show. So high school wrestling coaches, high school wrestlers, this platform we created, this is the pilot launch, this is for you. So if you have a story to tell, if you want some coverage for your high school coach, if you want any high school coach that wants to come on here and talk wrestling with myself and Joe, please reach out to us. And this is what we're here, your platform to take care of you.
That's going to do it for tonight's very first edition of the National High School Wrestling Show. Great job tonight by SFPM. Guys, great stuff tonight. Thank you very much. We had our DJ in the house tonight. It was a subdued performance from our DJ. We had to restrain him in tonight because he's going to blow the roof off here. But it was good stuff, and it was great to be live on location here tonight. That's going to do it for this edition of the National High School Wrestling Show. We thank everybody for tuning in. See you next time, everybody.
In our hometown, we all look out for each other. We go the extra mile to lend a helping hand.
Thank you.
We step up to keep our communities going strong. And at Independence Blue Cross, we're here to keep you going strong. We've been deeply rooted in our communities for more than 85 years. And that connection to members has earned us our spot as the #1 health insurer in the region. So while you look out for your neighbors, know IBX is always looking out for you.
If you own a company and you're not producing a podcast, you're missing out. The public consumes messaging when they're ready. Join the professional podcast network of companies and let Jacob Media Partners put you in the podcast arena. Come to our professional studio, or we'll come to your place of business and professionally produce your company podcast. Call Jacob Media right now at 267-261-3428. 267-261-3428.
The following is a presentation of Jacob Sports.